Pelé in the Brazilian army. Did you know? Have you ever imagined the greatest soccer player of all time, King Pelé, in uniform, marching, waking up early, following orders, and participating in military exercises? Well, believe it, it happened. And it's not fiction, it's not urban legend. It's a true story, surprising and utterly unusual. In one of the most curious and little explored chapters in the life of the King of Soccer, Pelé served in the Brazilian army like any other young Brazilian. Yes, the star who enchanted the world with his genius on the field also fulfilled his civic duty and wore the military uniform with pride and discipline. During his military service, Pelé not only fulfilled his obligations. He amazed generals, soldiers, and officers with his humble demeanor, his natural leadership, and, of course, with the ball at his feet. In one of his most memorable moments, he participated in a soccer match between military personnel, and, as always, he shone as only he could, turning the training field into a spectacle. The recognition he received within the army, with honors, applause, and respect. And Pelé's military legacy, a true example of humility, patriotism, and responsibility. It's incredible to think that, while the world saw him as a god of the stadiums, he behaved like a common soldier, respectful, dedicated, and committed to his country. Pelé in the barracks is proof that a man's greatness lies not only in titles, but also in his conduct outside the spotlight. This is further proof of why Pelé was, and always will be, much more than a player. He was a symbol, an example of discipline, humility, patriotism, and leadership, both on the soccer field and in the military. Get ready to delve into one of the most unique, funny, and inspiring stories in Edson Arantes do Nascimento's career. A lesson in character, responsibility, and love for Brazil. Pelé and the Brazilian Army. The story few know. Did you know that Pelé, the greatest icon in world football, surprised the Brazilian army by serving as a soldier? He wasn't just a star on the field, but an example of humility, discipline, and patriotism in uniform. In this unusual and little-known story, we'll reveal how the king of football approached military service, earning respect and admiration even among his officers. Get ready to discover a curious and fascinating side of Pelé, one that goes beyond goals and titles. Stay with us and discover this surprising chapter in the life of the player and soldier who marked the history of Brazil. The surprising encounter. Did you know that Pelé, yes, the greatest player of all time, once served in the Brazilian army? But it wasn't just any stint. It was an unusual, remarkable, and surprising chapter in the king's life. In 1959, after conquering the world with his plays for Santos and the national team, Pelé presented himself to the army like any young Brazilian of the time. Yes, even though he was an international celebrity, he donned his uniform, picked up his rifle, and marched like any other recruit. But the barracks didn't know they were receiving not just a soldier, but a genius with his feet. And what was supposed to be just a patriotic obligation became a spectacle. It became a lesson. It became a reverence. The generals stopped. The soldiers gathered. And the training camp became a soccer field. Pelé didn't enter with weapons. He entered with his talent, his charisma, and the ball at his feet. And there, before the country's most rigid military, he did what he did best. He enchanted. In this episode, you'll learn behind the scenes of this incredible story. The day the army saw, up close, that no command was stronger than the art that came from the king's feet. Stay with me. You'll be amazed. The arrival of recruit Pelé. It was 1959. Brazil was still celebrating the young star who had enchanted the world at the 1958 World Cup. But while the country was crowning him the king of football, Pelé, just 18 years old, humbly presented himself to the Brazilian army at the 6th Motorized Coastal Artillery Group in Praia Grande, São Paulo. No perks. No privileges. Pelé slept in barracks, ate at the mess, did physical exercises, rifle training, and marched alongside other young strangers. To his superiors, he was just another soldier. But, of course, it didn't take long for them to realize there was something more to this recruit. One day, during a break, Pelé asked for a ball. It took only 2 touches for everyone's eyes to turn. The field became an audience. Officers, instructors, soldiers, everyone stopped to watch. There, in that strict and disciplined environment, football spoke louder. And the king showed that no matter the uniform, talent always finds its place. The king on the training ground. The routine at the barracks remained rigid. Early mornings, intense physical exercises, weapons training, and a lot of discipline. But there was a moment in the day when everything changed. When the ball appeared on the training ground, eyes searched for him. Pelé, the king, now dressed in olive green, enchanted his teammates with dribbles that seemed choreographed. It didn't matter the shoes, the terrain, or the uniform. All it took was a ball at his feet, and the makeshift field became the Maracana. The officers, many of them accustomed to the rigidity, began to smile. Some would put aside their formality for a few minutes, just to watch the boy from Tres Carecos perform magic. Pelé played with the soldiers, taught them, joked around. He was the star, and also their teammate. The admiration grew day by day. Because there, he didn't need to be treated like a star. He was one of them all, and yet he was unique. And the barracks was never the same again. The military game that became a spectacle. With Pelé in the barracks, it was impossible not to think about soccer. It was then that the officers decided to organize a match between soldiers, with the king on the field. What was supposed to be a simple internal game became headline news. Officials were invited. Photographers showed up, and even radio stations wanted live coverage. On the day of the match, the makeshift field was packed. Soldiers left their exercises. Officers exchanged silence for laughter and anticipation. When Pelé took the field, with his uniform folded and cleats on, it was like a scene from a movie. Short dribbles, volleyed goals, backheel passes. Pelé turned a military game into a popular spectacle. And even when he scored goals, he shared the spotlight with his teammates, making a point of watching, joking, and cheering. There was no stardom. There was respect. That day, everyone was a champion. But the army discovered something greater. That talent, when combined with humility, can conquer even the most rigid walls of discipline. Recognition and honors in the army. What began as a performance of military duty became a milestone in the history of the Brazilian army itself. Pelé, the exemplary recruit, was already admired by his peers and superiors. But after the game, his name echoed through the barracks corridors with even more respect. The generals no longer saw just the star. They saw the citizen, the patriotic Brazilian, the young man who, even though he could have been spared, chose to serve. Shortly thereafter, Pelé was honored. He received medals, public praise, and a symbolic ceremony that combined sport and patriotism. One of the most memorable moments was when, in formal attire, he received an honorary military diploma, complete with applause from the entire battalion. It was official. Pelé conquered even the most serious environment with his light-heartedness and grandeur. He proved that he wasn't just a king with the ball, but also with respect, humility, and love for his country. Pelé's military legacy. Pelé's time in the army was brief on the calendar, but eternal in the memories of those who lived through it. Soldiers who trained with him still remember the laughter, the games, and the conversations during meals in the mess hall. More than a star, Pelé proved to be an example of discipline, humanity, and humility. His presence in the barracks humanized the routine. He showed that hierarchy and affection can coexist. That respect is earned not with shouts, but with gestures. And when he left the uniform, Pelé took with him something precious. The pride of having served his country not only with goals, but with attitude. And he left something behind too. A legacy of inspiration for all the young soldiers who came after. In the army, Pelé's name became a symbol. Not only of soccer, but of a Brazil that excites, that overcomes itself, that honors its roots. After all, not all kings need crowns. Some wear soccer shoes and uniforms. Pelé, the soldier and the king. Pelé's story in the Brazilian army is a little-known chapter, but one that reveals the greatness of the man behind the legend. More than a star player, Pelé was a soldier who fulfilled his duty with humility, respect, and dedication. He showed that, even in the field of military discipline, his talent and character shone as brightly as on the field. Pelé proved that being a king isn't just about dominating soccer, but also about honoring your country, your origins, and your people. His time in the army is a living example that true leadership is born of humility and commitment. And for us, fans and admirers, the lesson remains: talent and character go hand in hand, and that's what makes a true king. And you, have you heard this surprising story of King Pelé in the army? Comment here and share this unique story. And don't forget, subscribe to the FUT News BR channel for more unique and exciting stories about the football that changed the world. Embrace the greatness of Pelé, where the story of football's greatest icon with the King's official jersey. Feel the pride of carrying the true essence of the sport in every detail. Shipping worldwide. No matter where you are, the official Umbro Santos 10 Pelé jersey can reach you. Don't miss this exclusive chance to add a unique piece to your collection. Check it out now at our partner store. Discover other unmissable news. Get yours now and show that you're a fan of the true king of football. Visit the website in the pinned comments.